I remember the day it all began, like it was etched into my soul. The sun was dipping low over the city skyline, casting a golden glow through our apartment windows, and I was humming softly to myself as I set the table for dinner. My name is Emily, and back then I thought I had it all: a cozy home, a job I loved as a graphic designer, and most importantly, Alex, the man who'd promised me forever. We'd been together for 5 years, building dreams together, whispering secrets under the covers at night. He was my rock, or so I believed, with his easy smile and those deep brown eyes that always seemed to hold a spark just for me. That evening, I had planned a surprise. It was our anniversary, and I'd spent the afternoon baking his favorite chocolate cake, the one with the rich frosting that melted in your mouth. I even wore the dress he loved, the red one that hugged my curves and made me feel alive. As I lit the candles, my heart fluttered with excitement. Alex will be so touched, I thought, imagining his arms around me, pulling me close. But as the minutes ticked by, he was late, unusually late. I checked my phone, no messages, just the silence that started to feel heavier with each passing second. Finally, the door creaked open, and there he was, looking flustered, his tie loosened and a faint scent of perfume clinging to his shirt. Not my perfume. "Hey, babe," he said, forcing a grin as he pecked my cheek. Traffic was a nightmare. I nodded, pushing down the tiny knot of doubt in my stomach. We sat down to eat, and he complimented the meal, but his eyes kept drifting to his phone, lighting up with notifications he quickly silenced. I tried to shake it off, maybe work stress, I told myself. After all, Alex was ambitious, climbing the ladder at his marketing firm, always chasing the next big client. But that night, as he slept beside me, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I shouldn't have looked, I know that now, but curiosity tugged at me like a whisper in the dark. I picked it up, my fingers trembling as I swiped through. And there it was, a string of messages from someone named Sarah, filled with hearts and plans for secret meets. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, my love," one read. My world tilted. The cake, the dress, the candles, it all felt like a cruel joke. Tears blurred my vision as I scrolled further, uncovering photos, intimate words that shattered the trust I'd built my life on. How long had this been going on? Months? The betrayal hit me like a wave, drowning me in disbelief and pain. I slipped out of bed, pacing the living room in the moonlight, my chest aching with every breath. Part of me wanted to scream, to wake him and demand answers. But another part, the deeper, wounded part, knew I needed to be smart. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a deliberate choice, a hidden life he'd woven behind my back. As dawn broke, I wiped my tears and made a silent vow. I wouldn't let this break me. Instead, I'd turn the hurt into something stronger. But what I didn't know that day was how far this deception went and how my path to justice would change everything. The days that followed blurred into a haze of heartache and hidden tears. I went through the motions, smiling at work, nodding along to Alex's stories over breakfast, but inside I was crumbling. Every time he touched me, I flinched inwardly, remembering those messages, the way he'd called her my love while lying next to me. I started piecing it together like a puzzle I never wanted to solve. Sarah wasn't just anyone. She was his coworker, the one he'd mentioned casually in passing, always with a dismissive wave. "Oh, she's just helping with the project," he'd say. But now I saw the truth. Late nights at the office weren't about deadlines. They were about stolen moments with her. I couldn't confront him yet. The pain was too raw, like a fresh wound that bled with every thought. Instead, I dove deeper, needing to understand the full extent of his betrayal. One evening, while he was in the shower, I logged into his email on our shared laptop, something I'd never done before, but desperation pushed me. There were reservations for weekend getaways, emails about our future, and even a playlist he'd made for her, filled with songs we'd once danced to in our kitchen. My heart shattered all over again. How could he do this? We'd talked about marriage, kids, a house with a garden. Was it all a lie? The emotional storm raged inside me. Nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, replaying memories, questioning everything. Was I not enough? I'd whisper to the ceiling, tears soaking my pillow. Anger mixed with sorrow, a toxic brew that left me exhausted. Friends noticed my distraction. My best friend, Mia, pulled me aside one day at lunch. What's going on? You look like you've seen a ghost. I broke down then, spilling it all in hushed tones over coffee. She hugged me tight, her voice fierce yet gentle. You deserve better. Don't let him dim your light. Her words sparked something, a flicker of strength amid the ruins. I started journaling my feelings, pouring out the hurt onto pages that became my silent confidant. Therapy helped too. I found a counselor who listened without judgment, helping me untangle the web of self-doubt. Betrayal isn't about you, she said softly. It's his failure, not yours. Slowly, the fog lifted. I realized I wasn't the broken one. He was hiding behind lies to fill some void, but the turning point came when I discovered more. Digging through his things, yes, I know it sounds invasive, but trust was already shattered. I found receipts for gifts I'd never received. Jewelry, lingerie, all charged to our joint account. The audacity stung like salt in the wound. And then a photo on his cloud storage. Him and Sarah at a beach, arms wrapped around each other, the same beach where we'd vacationed last year. My stomach twisted. This wasn't a fling. It was a parallel life, one where I didn't exist. The shift happened gradually. Pain gave way to resolve. I stopped cooking his favorites, started focusing on me yoga classes, new hobbies, reconnecting with old friends. Alex noticed, of course. You're distant lately, he'd say, his brow furrowed in fake concern. I'd smile faintly. Just busy. Inside I was plotting, not with malice, but with a quiet determination to expose the truth. I wouldn't stoop to his level, but I couldn't let him walk away unscathed. Justice, I decided, would be my salve, until everything changed one fateful afternoon when I uncovered the final piece that pushed me into action. With the evidence gathered like armor around my heart, I knew it was time. No more hiding in shadows. I deserved the light. I planned it carefully, not for destruction, but for revelation, a way to let the truth unfold without a single shout. First, I confided in Mia, who helped me set up a group chat with our closest friends and family, the ones who'd celebrated our milestones with us. I also reached out to Sarah anonymously, sending her a simple message. We need to talk about Alex. Her response was swift, laced with confusion, but she agreed to meet at a quiet cafe. That meeting was electric with tension. Sarah arrived looking polished, her eyes widening when she saw me. You're Emily? She gasped, realization dawning. We talked for hours, tears, apologies, shared stories of his deceptions. Turns out, he'd told her I was just an ex, that our relationship was over. The betrayal cut both ways. I had no idea, she whispered, her voice breaking. In that moment, anger softened into alliance. We weren't enemies. We were victims of the same web dot together. We crafted the plan. On the night of his big work promotion party, the one where he'd invited everyone important, I made my move. As guests mingled in the elegant hall, toasts ringing out, I stepped forward with a calm smile. I'd like to say a few words, I announced, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. Alex beamed at first, but his face paled as I began. Alex has always been great at surprises, I said, projecting photos onto the screen behind me, not graphic. Just the messages, the receipts, the beach photo blurred for decency. Gasps rippled through the room. But tonight, the surprise is on him. The room fell silent as the truth exposed itself. His boss frowned, colleagues whispered, friends looked stunned. Alex stammered, "Emily, what are you doing?" But I held my ground. "I'm setting us free." Sarah stood by my side, her presence the final nail. He tried to explain, but the damage was done, his reputation tarnished. His promotion in jeopardy, his secrets laid bare for all to see in the aftermath. He packed his things and left, tail between his legs, muttering apologies that rang hollow. I didn't gloat. Instead, I felt a quiet release, like exhaling after holding my breath too long. The support poured in, friends rallied, family offered hugs, and even his coworkers distanced themselves. Sarah and I became unlikely friends, bonding over healing and new beginnings. Looking back, that betrayal was a storm that nearly drowned me, but it taught me resilience. I learned that true strength comes from within, not from someone else's promises. Now, as I rebuild new apartment, fresh dreams, I carry a lesson. Trust your instincts and never let deceit dim your worth. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your story and mine. It's just beginning brighter than ever.